All right. I think we should be good.
Ready. We'll go ahead and share my screen.
And you can move your mic a little bit closer, Carson. I didn't realize I had my volume up so heavy.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good there. Okay.
All right. So, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, with regards to news this week, there is no news on Monday. On Tuesday, you have an employment cost index, which is quarterly. You also have some composite 2020 HPI, which is yearly on year. Chicago PMIs, consumer confidence at 10. So really on Tuesday, you have 8:30 a.m. red folder news, 10 a.m. red folder news. On a Wednesday, you have ADP non-farm employment change. You have a final manufacturing PMI. You have an ISM manufacturing PMI. You also have JOLTS job openings, right? The manufacturing PMI and the JOLTS job openings being released at 10. Manufacturing PMI right after equities open at 9:45, and then the non-farm employment change at 8:15. You also have the funds rate alongside the FOMC statement at 2 in the afternoon in the PM session, and then at 2:30 you also have the press conference following that. Thursday, you only have unemployment claims at 8:30. That is it. And then on Friday, as we roll into a new month, you have non-farm payroll, which is NFP. You also have your average hourly earnings month on month. You have your unemployment rate, and you've got some services PMIs as well to finish the back half of the AM session. So pretty jam-packed week this week, right? You want to go into it with the idea that the higher probable trades are going to lead either in Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday AM session. From there, you probably want to let the Wednesday PM session alongside Thursday, and then Friday, anything pre-NFP, play out without you being a participant in the market, and then maybe post NFP after that release, you get something that you want. Keep that in the back of your mind. Although there is no news on Monday, if there is any days that you want to maybe consider Monday, it would probably be a week like this week. You're looking for Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday morning to kind of give you the higher probability, low resistance runs. If you can't find anything there prior to Wednesday AM session, I would stick on the sidelines until at least after NFP on Friday. Any questions, comments, concerns? Any comments about end of month Tuesday, start of next month Wednesday? Um, I mean, just it's candle closure, right? We'll talk about it in the charts, but you just got another month rolling over. So curious to see what that daily, weekly, monthly closure is going to happen on Tuesday. So you want to know that with regards to Wednesday's opening, right? Where are we, and where could we potentially go, and stuff like that. But that's it for me on news. We'll go ahead and pop out my charts. Okay, so dollar on the monthly. All right, just a couple things to note here. All right, we have the SIBI right here. Curious to see if we close, obviously, in the next 2 days and 9 hours above this SIBI. We will now have used it as inversion, and I would like to see price, if it needs to or wants to, come down into here and then trade back up, right? Using it as inversion. If it ever so chooses to, we could obviously keep running. But on the monthly, main target, main idea, main draw is still 107,500, right? To fill the rest of this, potentially use this as buy-side liquidity. You can also use these previous month's highs in here. Same thing that we've been talking about. Really, my main focus is just how do we react within a weekly. With regards to this BISI, you can see how well we used the consequent encroachment here. pulled all the way back up, right? And now we're potentially looking to see if we can see new displacement to the upside as we start to target 107,500. Although we can still use this area in BISI, very much so watching to see how sensitive it plays following this, right? This is what you want to see if you're bullish. Price is dropping all the way down into the consequent encroachment, and then from there closing all the way outside of it, almost in an up close candle again too. So curious to see what the next week has, and if we do come back lower in here, right? Is it just a retracement to go higher, right? Whether it's the consequent encroachment, the top half of it, or even if for whatever the reason it wants to get more extended and test a full daily CIBI, right? You never know. But you would want to see displacement start to occur on dollar higher. On a daily, same thing. Oops. Right, these were the two main areas that I was looking for, right? For the most part, you can see how we mohawked it a little bit on Friday, but look at that strong closure, right? Back all the way above here and above this CIBI. This is what we were kind of looking for potentially on the midweek review, but you can see Thursday traded into the CIBI and all the way back lower, right? And this is why you want to always be focused on the candle body closure, right? Because although Thursday did show us this move lower off the CIBI, the candle body stayed inside this BISI, right? So it's very easy for me to justify the idea that we could wick out here, right? We could wick out here a little bit, but where does the Friday close, right? And you can see how, although we do wick, right, it's one of those things where Tuesday takes out Monday's low, Wednesday takes out Tuesday's low, Thursday takes out Wednesday's low, and then we reverse all the way higher on Friday after taking out Thursday's low. So I would just like to see more displacement to the upside now that we've closed back above the CIBI. I would like this BISI for right now to actually act as support and continue higher unless anything changes. But I'll be looking for a 1 hour and 4 hour displacement as we can start to run into 107,400, 107,500. Any questions, comments, concerns on dollar? Right, I would not be expecting it as of right now to revisit this area, right? So I'll have it in the back of my mind, but with the way everything's looking with regards to the weekly, right, I would still be viewing any retracement lower as simply that, a retracement to go higher. So I'm curious to see if we can hold Friday's low. If we don't, we may be able to work back down into this area, but I'll take that day by day going into this week. And yeah, that's it for me on dollar. Just still looking for buy side up here. All you, Henry.
All right, cool. We'll look at the indices here. Still have the potential for a mixed market idea in a sense. If you're just looking initially at the monthly charts on ES and NASDAQ, we've traded down into discount raise now and we're respecting it. So we still do have 2 days and 7 hours left. But based on where we're getting monthly closure right now, assuming that we closed exactly where we are trading at right now, I would still view this from a longer term bullish perspective. Okay, so in that case, you could see dollar continue higher and indices continue higher as well. As we drop into lower time frames, then we can identify opportunities where we may see some continuation lower in the short term. But let's take a look at ES first. So monthly, really just noting the BISI here. We fully redelivered the sell side. This is a buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. We drop down to redeliver the sell side of the imbalance right here. We do have another BISI below here on the monthly chart, but if we're not seeing reason to continue down here, which I would identify based off of on the lower time frames, are we displacing higher, then we can just work back toward the highs without needing to revisit this. Okay, but as for now, being open to that idea still if we do show an effort to continue lower. Dropping to the weekly, this I talked about this last week. Ideally, if we were going to continue drawing lower down toward that deeper discount monthly BISI and this imbalance down here, it would have been most ideal for the prior week, which has now closed and created a little SIBI up in here, to not trade as far up into the range as it did. Because just like we think about when price is trading into an imbalance, like how right here, price dropped into this BISI on the weekly chart, how deep it trades into it influences how we view the sentiment behind the market. Price just barely dropping in and then running away is significantly more bullish than if price goes all the way down to the low end of it and then runs away from it. So it's the same sort of concept when we're looking for a price run to continue. You don't really want to see a return all the way back up into premium if you're going to stay heavy to the downside. And so the fact that we are reaching all the way back up in here puts me going into this week in a more neutral bias. If we had closed all the way down here and left a large SIBI in here, then this week my expectations would have been for price to draw up into the SIBI and then likely continue going lower back down into the sell side. But for as we closed right now, this doesn't share the same bearish sentiment as it would if price were to have closed all the way down here and left a large imbalance. The imbalance that was left behind is less than 4 handles. So we traded all the way back up into that range. So considering that, I would think the possibilities for this week are, first of all, we're likely going to trade above the previous week's high and reach into the small imbalance that is there. And then we'd want to see from there, is there an effort to displace lower, back away from it, and start working back toward these lows? Or are we just cutting through it and trading up into these up close candles? Okay. So really addressing it as a neutral perspective initially going into the week. And then we want to see, is there an effort to displace lower from this? If so, then we can realign ourselves with a bearish bias. If we trade right through it and displace higher, then we just target premium arrays. So the up close candles here and the previous weekly high right here. Okay. If you drop down to a daily chart, this is really the only point where I would expect for price to turn off of. This high right here makes up the low end of the weekly SIBI, so we could trade up into that range between this candle's low and this candle's high right there, but we're already trading in a daily SIBI as well, and so far respecting the consequent encroachment of it, even though we've traded pretty deeply up into here. So really just going into the week initially, I want to see where that displacement is taking place. Just like we were looking for the dollar to trade into the weekly BISI and then displace higher, which I think we're now seeing on a 4-hour chart. On the indices here, we'd want to look for the opposing thing, but the same idea, right? So price draws into a higher time frame imbalance, and then you want to see, is there an effort to displace away from it? If we're not displacing back to the downside, then we can just draw back up toward a premium. And on a daily chart, if we're looking to identify a dealing range, we just need to scan back and see where was buy side purged. Well, it didn't happen until right here. Okay. So you take buy side being purged, and then you look for where sell side was purged, down here, down here, down here, and we have a low all the way down here. So you can see we're just shy of a premium right now. And we could draw up a little bit higher and then still displace lower. Okay. But until we see that displacement on those time frames below the daily here, so I'd be looking at a 4-hour and at the very minimum a 1-hour chart, there's not a whole lot of clarity in terms of which direction price is going to move to. And so you have to address it just like ICT talks about in, it was one of the recent episodes of the 2022 mentorship that we went through. When you're trading around the midpoint of a larger range, then you expect the possibility of consolidative conditions. And so if you're going to be trading in that, you need to focus on working with your lower time frames. So you're looking at your 15-minute chart as your bellwether chart and just identifying ahead of those key times like 8:30, 9:30, 10, 1:30, 2 p.m. All those times where you're looking for some form of manipulation and then an opposing move to occur, you're looking at your 15-minute chart and identifying those swing highs and lows. Okay, so like that's basically what we looked at on Friday. Okay, when we came into the market right here, we were trading roughly around the midpoint of the larger dealing range. So we were expecting to see consolidative conditions. And so we look at the 15-minute chart ahead of 9:30, and we're seeing and at 8:30 as well. And we're seeing where are the swing highs and lows. Well, at 8:30 you have swing low here, swing high here. We run that out, and then you drop back into the range. Going into 9:30, we run a swing low, and then go back into the range. So when you're trading consolidative conditions, you focus your attention on external to internal opportunities. So instead of trading something like this, like when we can expect expansion, and we're looking to buy internal and take it to external, when you're in consolidation, you're doing the opposite. So you're looking for external to be purged and then take it back to internal. And you partial here and then take your terminus as the external on the opposing end of the range. Okay, so just going into the week, waiting for that displacement to occur in one direction or the other. If you're not seeing that displacement, then you focus your attention on trading it like consolidative conditions. So use that 15-minute chart and identify those swing highs and lows, and then you can see how you can participate from external back to internal. Moving over to NASDAQ, same ideas for the most part. We traded out into the monthly BISI here. So just being aware of that on your monthly chart. On the weekly, we created a slightly larger SIBI than we saw on ES, but still traded pretty deeply back up into it. My preference would have been for it to not trade so high up into the range, but you know, we've got what we've got, so we're just working with this. Next week, or this coming week on Monday or Tuesday, likely toward the earlier part of the week, I would expect price to draw up into this imbalance here, and then when and if price does draw into it, we just want to see, is there an effort to displace back lower from it? If there is, then we can start seeking sell side again. And if not, then we can look back to premium arrays or just continue to trade within consolidative conditions. We're right about at the midpoint of this dealing range as well, high to low. If we were expecting lower prices, then we trade up into a premium, which we'd be doing here inside the weekly SIBI. Okay, so we want to see when price trades up to a premium, is there an effort to displace lower? Okay, and since we're in a larger range, as we reach toward a premium, you have to expect the possibility of some short-term consolidation to occur. All right, so then you want to focus your attention, just like we talked about on ES, on working with those lower time frames and finding opportunities to play external back to internal. Dropping to the daily right here, you can see we traded through all of these imbalances down here, trade up into it, trace, reach back through, and then on Friday we used the bullish order block right here to reach up into above Thursday's high. All right, and now above, this is your weekly SIBI, and then you still have a daily SIBI that could be visited up here as well. So just being open to price trading into a premium and into this range between this low and this high, and then this daily SIBI here as well. All right, any questions here on the indices, ES or NASDAQ? Ranjan, for consolidation zone, external to internal, if we mark swing highs and lows on the 15-minute, our entry stop loss has to be on the 1 minute. Not necessarily. It could be, you could trade it on the 15-minute, you could trade it on the 5-minute, the 4, the 3, 2, 1, wherever you see the setup taking place. Like this was the trade that I took on Friday, and I posted it in the trading chat if you want to see the executions for it. But 15-minute, expecting higher prices as we've seen bullish order flow, and working with consolidative conditions. Okay, so right here ahead of 9:30, we're running out the sell side, we're running that low again, we're running that low again. So we're just drawing down to the sell side below the 8:30 and midnight opens. So we're at a discount. And then I'm just looking for price to show an effort to displace higher. So if you drop down to your 5-minute, we see that right here. Initially a Judas swing at 9:30, and then we run higher. You don't see a BISI in here, but you do have the bullish order block, which we traded to right there, and then run higher off of it and seek Thursday's high here. If you go to a 3-minute chart, that's where you get your 2022 model. Okay, right here. So you're running lows, displacement higher, shift in market structure through that high, and you have a BISI right here. So you can enter there, stop either down below here or at least down below the mean threshold of the bullish order block here. So you can put your stop right around here. and then you target up here and Thursday's high, and you can take a partial in internal liquidity as well. So above this high and at the rejection block. There, and exit most of your position here. All right. Any other questions here on the indices? Looks good. John, I see you typing. Or it might be. Oh, Ricardo, good, okay. All right. Was playing short on that huge wick not a good idea? You can. There's opportunity within there too. We looked at a 2022 model on the morning for that. You had to go to your 30-second chart for it really to see it up in here, but on the 1 minute, we create a swing low, we break it. There's your SIBI to enter short. It's not the cleanest model, but we do draw down to the sell side from there. All right. Cool. So I'm going to stop my screen share, and then I guess we can move into, let's see, did we have any trade submissions?
Nope, no trade submissions. So if y'all want, if y'all want feedback on anything, send it in there. I know it's new, but that's there for y'all. Once y'all start sending some in, we'll review them. Other than that, pretty short and sweet for the most part.
Yeah, good stuff. I'll open up a new submission for next week, so you can put them in there. Any other just general questions? Otherwise, I think that covers it for us. I know ICT's doing some streams at the start of the week too. He said he's doing a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 8 to noon, I think. So we may not have morning chart and chats this week because I want everyone to go send their attention that way. I know I'll be watching those myself. So, but any other questions here about the? Yeah, there's a template in there, Marisa. There's a template to work with. You should see it on the previous week's one. No worries, no worries. All right. Well, that covers it for me.
But yeah, other than that, short and sweet for the most part. Nothing new, nothing crazy. Be safe. It's NFP week. Remember that. Other than that, pretty short, simple.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give you back your Sunday.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you. We'll still be around for a couple of things next week. I think we won't have the morning streams because ICT's streaming, but we'll still have tomorrow night at 8. We have our 2022 call, so make sure you're getting ready for that. It's let's see what we've got on the schedule. That's going to be the 29th. So we're doing episode 9, Power 3, and New York closed session opportunities. That's a really good discussion. So looking forward to that. We'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time for that. And otherwise, we'll just be around. So if you have any questions, feel free to send a message. Otherwise, enjoy your Sunday. Take care, everyone.
Enjoy your Sunday as well.